Good morning, Econ students. My name is Mr. Arnebeck. In time, hopefully you'll just call me Arnie because it's shorter, it's easier, and it's probably a little more familiar. I teach economics at Park High School. I've been teaching it there for a little over a decade now. And this is the first time I've had the opportunity to teach an online course. And that means we have students from all three, if not all four high schools in the district, which will probably create some unforeseen challenges as we move through the course. Probably the biggest challenge that we face right now with this online class is we're doing it in an unprecedented fashion. We're going to be going through economics in 6 weeks. I think we are going to cut down the amount of curriculum that we have at this time to fit what your peers are experiencing in the school. So it will be an abbreviated version of it. In years moving forward, when we actually have this course for the full 12 weeks, then we would take you through a more standard version of it. So know that we are trying to cut it down to fit all the different dynamics that the pandemic has presented to us. So what I want to do in this quick meeting is the introduction and roll through our course a little bit, just to give you a tour and an idea of how it works, and then introduce your first activity to you as well. So on the screen, what you see mainly, besides a little box of me off to the side, is my iPad displaying my Schoology page. It's probably got a lot of extra junk that yours wouldn't have. But our course is the OL Economics, online economics, so I'm going to open that up. And what you see on the first page here is the first is a link to our room, which is the Google Meet room. And when we do determine when we're going to meet, and that's partially what I sent out to you today, and we'll get to that in a moment. When we do have a chance to meet together and connect, that's the link that we'll use. In the resources folder, I wanted to draw your attention to the online expectations. I think you will also find that I will add another introductory video with a little more personal information, just a brief overview of what economics course is comprised of. But on the online expectations, I think it's important that we're all on the same page here. The difference between online econ and our regular econ that we're offering, even during this time, is that you made the conscious decision to take the online course, whereas your peers that are now in distance learning did not have that conscious decision. So the expectations for you as an online learner could be slightly different, although not all that different than what your peers would have. So let's start here. I'll zoom in a little. So your student responsibility is that you're going to interact with this course's learning activities and or communicate with me a minimum of 3 times a week. So think of it as every other day at a minimum. Ideally, if you carve out just a little bit of time a day, the way that I've set up the course, you can do 1 or 2 activities a day and work your way through it. Although some of you may work in bursts. If you're like me, I like to do a lot of work at one time. It seems to be where I'm most effective. So you might get a half a week to a full week's worth done in one setting, and that's okay. If we have a day where we're asking you to check in and you've got the work done, just means you check in quick and then you can leave the meeting. You want to communicate with me immediately if you fall behind. Respond to communications that I will send out to you via Schoology Messenger within 2 days from the time that it's sent, or else I will have to do a follow-up just to make sure that you're okay. So make sure you're checking your district email regularly, although the messenger in Schoology should be our first and most immediate form of communication. Let me know if you have any technical difficulties with the course content, so that way we can come up with workarounds. One thing I can think of off the top of my head is that I've been used to working with students with iPads, so I've contoured a lot of the assignments and doctored them up to fit what the iPad allows students to do. Many of you are working off of Chromebooks or maybe your desktops at home. So if we're looking at a document where you need to draw on and fill out some materials, maybe you're familiar with the Chrome extension Kami, K-A-M-I. But as you're drawing graphs and things like that, that Chrome extension will help you complete any of those tasks that otherwise might be difficult without having the iPad. Let's see, notify your media specialist if you have any difficulties with your school issued device. You are expected to complete all your coursework on your own, although of course I'm going to be available during office hours every day from 1:10 to 2:30 if you need me. During the mornings, I am free as well from 9 a.m. to 11:30. 11:30 to 12:30 is when I have my regular econ class at Park. My expectations, as you can see here, I need to log on to the course daily, which I will do. It says at least every 2 days, but Monday through Friday, as long as it's a school day, I'll be logging into our course and checking it. I'm attempting to engage you as well as I can at the beginning of the term here. And so tomorrow, I'm hoping that we can have our first virtual meeting and connect with you that way. Start to get to know you better as learners and just as individuals. The timeline that's provided for you to manage your coursework, you will find within Schoology, within the assignments that I lay out for you in the modules that I've created. I'll try to give you timely feedback on your formative assessments. So what you'll find is by the end of the week, I typically do a bulk of my grading on the weekends, although with some extra time in my mornings now, I should be able to be looking at formative work that's turned in almost daily and be able to get that back to you. So my turnaround time should be 2 days or less. The summative assignment feedback would be falling within the same window. I don't think it would take me 5 days. The only reason it would take me 5 days is if I somehow miss it in the grade book and it's something that's been turned in after the original due date. I may not see it until a little later on. I will do my best to respond to you within 48 hours. In fact, I try to think I'd do it within 24 hours for you. So those are some expectations that's been laid out by the district for us. That's that document. You have access to that all the time through our course. I will be adding a little bit more of those resources as we continue through the class. Now, in our current folder is where you'll find what work is expected of you, and my intention is to release work week by week for you. So week 1 is available for you, and I actually have a day 1 quick intro assignment for you called the Flipgrid Intro. When you click on that, it should take you to a link that'll take you to my Flipgrid page, and it's going to ask you to create a short introductory video for me. It doesn't need to be more than 90 seconds in length. In fact, I don't think it can be more than 90 seconds in length. And when you get to that page and you sign in, you'll see I provided a quick introduction for you as well. I threw myself out there, and it's admittedly embarrassing, but I feel like if I'm going to ask you to go out on that limb, I should probably lead the way and do it myself. So you have the Flipgrid intro as your first thing to do. When you get into the week 1, then you can see how I've got the dates there indicated what period of time you should try to focus on getting that work done. And then within each week's folder, what you'll find is I've created a page, or I like to call it a module, and I modeled the way I set this course up after the online learning courses that I've done over the last few years in my professional development. So what you'll see here are some topics that match up with standards that we have to cover in econ. So our first module that is from today through Wednesday is going to cover the concepts of opportunity costs and trade-offs. So there's an activity I'd like to do with you live tomorrow called Planning the Prom, and we'll talk about the difference between opportunity cost and a trade-off in that activity. There is a reading assignment that you can do independently, answering a few text questions where it provided the questions for you and the text as well digitally. And then after each module at the end, I have what is a formative exit ticket, or it's a formative quiz. The questions are multiple choice for the most part. There's 1 or 2 short answer that I have to grade on my own, but the multiple choice, you should be able to get immediate feedback on how you performed on those. They come from a bank of questions. So for example, opportunity costs and trade-offs, this exit ticket might have 6 questions on it. If you take it and do poorly on it, Never fear, it's unlimited in your retake attempts, so you can keep taking it until you achieve the grade that you hope to have, or the score that you want to have for your grade on there. I look at the opportunity costs, exit tickets. If I'm a student looking at the way that I've set up the course and I see, okay, I have a module that I'm responsible for, I have an assignment that needs to be completed in the module, and then I have an exit ticket or kind of a quiz. You could reverse engineer each module too. You could go right to the exit ticket and try it out and see, okay, how did I do on it? Do I know that material already? And if I do, that means that when I actually go into the module, when I open that up, and you can see I've got some tasks for you to do within the module and directions for you to follow. So there will be tutorials or videos that I've put in there. You'll have activities that you need to do. And if there are assignments for you or attachments, you can see those are provided for you as attachments within the module. So there's an incentives activity that I typically do with students. There's the reading assignment itself here for you, and the questions that go along with it. So that's the reading. These are the questions. The introduction video to incentives, Flipgrid intro there. So you have access to things. And this is, again, how I set it up is through the module. So then when you look at the second half of this week, Wednesday through Friday, we shift our focus from opportunity costs and trade-offs to resources and something known as production possibility frontiers or production possibility curves. When you open up that module, there's 7 steps for you to take to get through that module. What's graded on this is going to be the coal versus wildlife and Goldilocks activity. And then there is an exit ticket that you have to respond to. So there are multiple choice questions for you to answer. And again, you can take them as many times as you need. Since the questions come from a question bank, you may find they're not the same questions over and over. They're gonna change on you, and that's intentional. When you look at further down on my page, you'll see, hey, there's weeks 2, 3, 4, 5 already on there. How come I can't get those? Well, it's because I have not published those yet. And for pacing purposes, my intent is to publish those at the beginning of the week as we go along. The last thought that I'll leave you with for now with this intro video is, one, I'm super excited to try this out with you. I hope that you have an open mind. I look forward to getting to meet you. When you do your Flipgrid, please ask me a question at the end, because I use those questions to address students as we start classes. So it's a way for you to get to know me better. And I love the Flipgrids because I get to see your personality and start to get to know you better as you complete that activity. So thanks. I'm excited to have you. And if you have any questions, of course, we can solve those as we meet tomorrow, or further along, you can just message me or email me. That material will be provided for you in an introductory video that I will be adding to the resources folder this morning.